speaker for today, Toastmaster Arun. Can you please do an audio and a video check?
Hi, am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Toastmaster Arun. Congratulations, it's a girl. Congratulations, it's a girl. Toastmaster Arun.
Greetings, Toastmasters and guests. I hope all of you are doing well. This is my first prepared speech in a Toastmaster session. And when I was looking to add content to my speech before, I thought of how this will be a new beginning in my life, which naturally made me go down the memory lane and remember this one peculiar incident when my grandmother told me about the story of my birth. It was a cold, chilly night, and as the world celebrated New Year's Eve, my extended family anxiously waited outside the operation theater. And as this nurse suddenly stepped out and said, "Congratulations, it's a girl." Stark silence followed. It was only after a while that the doctor came out and informed everyone as to how the nurse was actually joking and that it's a boy. And everyone erupted in joy. Before I start, I hope that there is a common consensus here about the fact that gender inequality still exists around us. And honestly, 10-year-old Arnhem would have thought the same. Because 10-year-old Arnhem was so tired of how women were respected on so much on a daily basis, how they could have gotten away with so many things that we men couldn't. How in each and every mode of public transport, there were seats reserved for women. And I was definitely so tired of hearing about tech companies refusing to even consider forms from male applicants as they look to increase their female strength to achieve a greater name in the corporate world. Now, as is my habit, my adolescent self slowly started to question as to why all these things exist. We all have heard about gender discrimination, about how, at the inception of humanity, an uncivilized society that prioritized brawn over brain eventually created a divide between the two dominant genders that has led to several prejudices being established, even as we continue to be a part of a civilized society. But my poor self, having next to no close female friends, failed to objectively see them. Until this one day that I went out to play football with my friends at the nearby park. As we returned home pretty late, I noticed as to how I did not encounter a single girl or a woman on my way back home. It was only then that I started to realize that the problems that I couldn't see were always there. I just couldn't see them because those problems lied in things that were so normalized in our society. Everything started to make sense. This one time when my cousin, who was told by her parents to not wear shorts because a family friend was about to arrive. This one time when my friend was intimidated by his girlfriend's older brother, who ironically had a girlfriend of his own, because he wanted to protect his little sister and thought that her being in a relationship was objectionable. And then there's Bollywood, a movie industry that has progressed quite a lot from the past, but continues to have sickening issues at its core, such as its iconic Aita numbers and its cheesy punchlines. As I grew up, the then 15-year-old Arnhem started seeing discrimination on online platforms as well. I saw how a video of a girl slapping and shouting an auto driver in public is enough proof for people to discredit feminism in its entirety and start talking about how pseudo-feminists are destroying their country and legacy. And it does not stop there. 52% of women have faced harassment on online platforms at least once in their life. It didn't take me much time from there to realize that the issues that I witnessed were the ones in an urban setting. In a country where 60% of its population lives in rural areas, I was someone who was brought up in Delhi and lived in Mumbai. So it shouldn't really get any more progressive than this. I constantly started hearing instances of women being ostracized from their communities because they were assaulted, or not reporting harassment cases to avoid being shamed in the society. To take it a level further, I haven't even moved out of the heteronormative zone and talked about people from the LGBTQ community. 98% of transgender Indians have faced upfront discrimination in their lives and face financial difficulties due to the same. Talking about financial difficulties, women are handed out nearly 75% of the money that men are for doing a similar job at a similar role in the corporate world. And there are innumerable other obvious and brutal examples. All of this does not mean that I'm denying that there are any issues specifically faced by men. For example, there is no recognition of molestation against men, and rarely do the police stations lodge an FIR. This and the fact that 2 to 5% of the sexual harassment reports are false reports. I am aware that discrimination against me is possible due to the counter effects of feminism. But between this and a life where my family members are disappointed in me just because of my gender, I certainly know what life I'm choosing. I'm 19 years old today, and from whatever I keep seeing about how people around me keep talking about being affected from abstract things such as being proud of our rich culture and heritage, if we can't even stop one half of our population from being mistreated, I think our culture certainly needs a lot of improvements. Things will only get better once you stop accepting unpleasant rituals and stop judging people for even the smallest of things and start addressing them while questioning your elders and your own family members regarding those few objectionable norms that we have been taught since our childhood. I realize that I come from a place of many societal privileges. And as a man who has had proper education throughout his life, from the best possible places to attain them, it is easier for me to recognize things and raise a voice against society. But I believe that we all need to make a collective effort to change things for the good. Equal and fair societies parlay into more prosperous and harmonious ones. Equality will promote livability, productivity, and confidence, and will enrich our culture so that we can truly be proud of it. Over to the TMODs.